with a shortage of oxygen. So I was like, let me just take these deep breaths and let me lay level so that way the blood could just flow back and forth without battling gravity, you know? And I don't know if it worked or not.
Well, you still here.
But
Thank
I'm still
God.
here.
Tony's a cute, my love is pure. Tony's a cute, my love is pure.
Show your love for Taquita Love. Comedy is cure.
Known and you're well respected. And when I say that, I mean like you can go almost anywhere, any city, and get on stage. And people know of you from your accolades from the beginning of your comedy career. How does that feel? And what are your goals now with comedy?
You know, a lot of it is, like I said before, was me being able to go on tour. So when I went on tour, I started meeting all these other comedians elsewhere. Then I started doing like comedy festivals and meeting other comedians all over the country, stuff like that. So when you do things like that, you meet everybody, and then you start to travel around. And now, comedy's like a fraternity.
Yeah. So
I had places where I would go to these towns and I would have some place to crash. I would be able to crash on this couch or that couch. I think it's important for comedians to get out there, like it's important to see other places and try your material in other places and meet comics in other places, because it opens your mind more. The same way just being a person who doesn't do comedy and travels and sees the world, it opens your mind more. So I think, it's important for that. And doing that throughout the years, luckily I was able to meet all these comedians and, luckily they opened their doors to me and let me sleep on many couches.
Yeah, and vice versa. Because you open your doors to many people too.
Yep, I did open my tent to many comedians.
Tent. He said tent. Was people coming by your tent?
People was definitely coming by my tent. But that was back in the days when I was homeless in Skid Row and all that. Now I'm in Beverly Hills.
Oh, you doing a bit? I know your jokes.
I know you. My tent all the way to Beverly Hills. Hey, but the marketing value on my tent went up ever since.
Okay.
All right, let me stop.
So I've seen you on a big screen, right? You did Cop Out, and then recently something else dropped, a Jamaican film.
Respect the
Jooks. And then you have the thing about being a comedian. Do you prefer acting or comedy? Because I know that you're a really good actor, and I've seen your work, and I've seen work that I know that sometimes you book stuff and it don't air and it don't go anywhere. Why are you looking at me like that? You're like, where is she going with this?
No, I'm listening.
Do you prefer acting or comedy?
I prefer comedy. Comedy is my first love. When you're a comedian, because when you're an actor, you're a performer. But when you're a comedian, you're an actor. I mean, you're a performer and a writer. So that's what I appreciate about it. Is that I get to perform, but I get to write too, and I get to say what I want to say and
it's
talk
like
about the things that I want to talk about. Exactly. Comic actors, we're just instruments using other people's words. So that's why I prefer stand-up. If you got an opinion, you got something you want to say, boom, that's where it's at.
Okay. I know you did it's the Black Comedy Festival in the Bay Area Black Comedy Festival. Were you the only non-Black person? Well, Puerto Rican, do you consider yourself?
I think I could have been the only Puerto Rican. I definitely wasn't the only non-Black person. They had whites and Asians and all that. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Bay Area competition. That I think is like one of the oldest Black comedy competitions in the country.
It's like real respected. And I know they brought it back a year or two ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, but I didn't hear nothing from it after.
Yeah, it was a pretty big deal back in the day.
You worked with Bob Sumner. Mm-hmm. To what extent?
Bob Sumner was put me on Def Comedy Jam.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to Bob Sumner.
Yep. Actually, coming up is like my 15th year anniversary of being the first Puerto Rican on Def Comedy Jam.
If they gonna do something to celebrate, they gonna celebrate y'all.
I mean, that's just a personal thing for me. They already did the Def Jam reunion,
and they was like forget the first Puerto Rican,
and they ain't even invite me, but that's all right. So that was the reunion for the show, but for me, it's been 15 years since my episode aired on HBO. And yeah, that's probably the first time I've been a first in anything.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you definitely put your footprint in comedy with that one.
Yeah, that's definitely a highlight and like a pinnacle of my career. Def Comedy Jam, man. Shout out to Patrice O'Neal. Me and Patrice shot it together.
Oh.
Shout out to Rashid, rest in peace. Me and Rashid shot it together. It was a time, man. I was young. I was in LA. They paid for everything. Stayed in a fancy hotel. After parties with celebrities. It was dope.
That sounds like a good time.
Shout out Bob Sumner, Stan Lathan, Russell Simmons, and HBO, man.
Hey. That's what's up. Now, what is your goal in comedy? Like, it's been 15 years. I know we talked about you producing or starring in your own comedy special, or shooting your own comedy special for a 20-year anniversary. Should we expect to see that?
No pressure, huh? She was going to throw it out there. Now I got to live up to this lie. Damn. I made that shit up to act like I was doing something. Now I really got to do this shit? Damn.
No, but being a comedian for 20 years is a highlight. You know what I'm saying? So I want to know what you got coming or what you looking forward to doing. Yeah,
definitely. I definitely want to shoot my special. I'm calling it Say Hello to the Bad Guy.
And why? Why is that the name?
One, because I'm always playing the bad guy in my roles.
You are. But they be killing you.
And yeah.
You always getting killed.
Exactly. And right, I'm never the bad guy that lives at the end. I'm the
get
bad
him
guy
out of here.
that way they be so evil, he gonna die later.
But I'm sorry to cut you off with that Cop Out. People were making memes from your scene from Cop Out when you were shooting. And you remember that? Did you see that when people were making memes with the Windex?
Oh, with the Lysol.
When Lysol, during the pandemic.
Talking about the pandemic. Yeah.
Okay, my bad. Go back to what you were saying.
What the hell was I saying?
Why you got that little laugh? We were talking about what you got coming up, like looking forward to in comedy.
Right. So I'm gonna shoot the special. Say hello to the bad guy. I don't know if it's going to be 30 minutes or an hour.
But you can definitely do an hour.
I think so.
Of course.
And then I'm gonna try to get it, on Netflix or Amazon or something like that.
Okay.
Shop it around.
Yeah, that should be.
Yeah, for the 20th. That's the goal.
That sounds like a good plan. That's this year.
That's this
So we're
year.
going to hold you to that. 2023 in May, we should see your comedy special coming out.
Well, I'm not saying see it coming out, but at least working towards shooting it.
Yeah,
at least shooting it.
I'm just putting you on the spot. You can accept it or not. Tell us about your crazy hospital visit during the pandemic.
Yes. Man, y'all not going to believe it, y'all, but I actually had to get a penis reduction.
Not that one.
Oh, not that one? Oh, you talking about the other one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and then I also had a heart attack at 39 years old.
How did that happen? Yeah, for one, how did it happen? What happened?
As if 2020 couldn't get any worse. It did. Like, you know how bad 2020 was.
Yeah, everybody tried to forget that one.
Yeah, nobody wants to remember that. And so I was doing remember how they was doing all them Zoom shows? So I was doing a Zoom show with Talent, shout out to Talent and Dougie Fresh. And me, Talent, Dougie Fresh, we online, we shooting it. And in the middle of the thing, started sweating and catching palpitations.
Palpitations, hey, the medical terms.
And And I was okay, like took deep breaths and all that. And then when we went off air, went to lay down, taking more deep breaths, still kind of felt like a tightening in my chest. And then I went outside to go smoke some weed. I was like, all right, maybe the weed will do something.
Why weed be the cure to everything? Every man be like, let me just smoke a blunt real quick. Nah.
Yeah, exactly. And then by the time I came back inside, it still felt it. I was like, Ma. I was at visiting my mother in Florida at the time. And I was like, Ma, I think we need to go to the hospital.
Oh, for real? You knew it was a heart attack?
I didn't know it was a heart attack. I thought it was indigestion and acid reflux. So I took like an antacid, and it wouldn't go away, and it felt different from
The indigestion.
So I was like, all right, maybe this needs to get checked out. My mother was like, okay, yeah, we're gonna go right now as soon as I'm done washing the dishes.
But she wouldn't know it was an emergency.
So she's washing the dishes. I'm laying down in the bed taking deep breaths.
That's how mothers will do that. Black mamas do it, but I guess Puerto Rican mamas do that too. They're like, look, when I'm done with what I'm doing.
Yeah, and then when she's done washing the dishes, I'm like, yes, now we finally get to go. She's like, okay, let me just use the bathroom real quick. She goes in the bathroom. I'm still sweating and taking deep breaths.
She ain't see you sweating.
I was in the bedroom laying down.
You should have sent her a picture like, "Ma, help."
And then I went, and then finally she rushed me to the hospital, and that was the diagnosis, man. I had a blood clot that traveled up to one of my arteries and blocked my artery.
So you never passed out? Like,
No, didn't pass out, but was like
faint, like starting to lose consciousness?
Not losing consciousness, but was like, imagine in the car, seat all the way back.
Because you couldn't get your breath.
Taking deep breaths.
Okay.
Like, just trying to get oxygen flowing.
Yeah.
And
did you know to do that? Or was just your body's natural reaction to like, I need oxygen. And your body just told you like, that's the best way to get it?
Well, I figured that it had to do something with a shortage of oxygen. So I was like, let me just take these deep breaths and let me lay level so that way the blood could just flow back and forth without battling gravity, And I don't know if it worked or not.
Well, you still here.
But
Thank
I'm still
God.
here. And it turns out that heart attack was called the widowmaker.
Really?
The widowmaker.
Damn, that's the one that take you out.
Yeah, it's one of the worst ones that nobody survives from.
Damn.
Yeah.
So that means you're here for a purpose.
Yeah. And it's basically the biggest like vessel in your heart is called the LAD, the left anterior descending artery. And it's the big one. It's the one that little ones branch off from and wrap around your heart.
And that's where the clot was.
That's the one where the clot was, and that's called the widowmaker.
Oh, damn.
They went in with a catheter, sucked it out, and then placed a stent.
Did they say like the reason for it? Like what caused it?
I don't know.
39 is young.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know the exact reason, and I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist.
Don't do it. Don't do it. I know what you're about to say.
But that blood clot did appear after I took the vaccine.
Don't do that, because you don't do it. Don't. Why are you looking at? Don't do that. But it's okay. So the classic signs of heart attack is the sweating, the shortness of breath. But did you get the sharp pain that people feel radiating down their left arm?
You know what? I did.
Okay.
It didn't radiate down my left arm. It radiated to my shoulder.
Okay, yeah, that's one of the signs. So,
yeah.
For those that don't know, those are classic heart attack signs. So if you ever feel those, and your mama don't want to listen to you, be like, bitch, I'm sweating. Take me to the hospital.
Shortness of breath, tightness in the chest, pressure in the chest, like somebody sitting on your chest. Sometimes you feel it in your back, like it goes through, and then the radiating into the arm. Yeah. So
that was crazy. I heard about it, and I was like, in my mind, I thought the worst. I was like, he fainted, and he got rushed to the emergency room, and I'm thinking like, like a scene from a trauma, like, and they bust you through the doors, and then they roll you through, and they got to pump your chest and like bring you back. Like that's what I thought, because it seemed so scary.
Yeah.
And people think the worst, but I was so happy when I talked to you and you were okay, you know?
It wasn't as dramatic as that, but still dramatic. Yeah.
So you in the hospital, did you have surgery? What happened? Like they pulled it out. Was that like an outpatient thing? Did you stay in the hospital for days?
Stayed in the hospital for a few days. They did the whole catheter thing
Up the groin.
up the groin.
And that's when you said you had the penis reduction when they did that. You was like, y'all took some of my shit.
Yeah, they were like, we need to reduce this because it's in the way. And then we can proceed. And so they, I don't know if y'all know about this procedure, but they basically inject you with contrast resolution, which is like a dye that goes into your veins. And then they put over your chest like an X-ray fluoroscopy device.
Come on with the words.
And then you can watch your heart
Pumping.
on the monitor, and then they watch it at the point when the dye enters your vessels, and that's how they can tell where the blockage is, because they see where the dye flows, they see where the dye doesn't flow, and then they pinpoint exactly where it is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a crazy procedure, man, to think about how they go in from your groin up to this little vessel in your heart.
Yeah. I feel like medicine just evolved. Were you in any pain? Like, what was the recovery like?
I wasn't in any pain. Luckily, the inside of your vessels have no nerves.
Okay.
So anything in that hole in your veins or your arteries, you can't feel anything. So luckily, no, that wasn't painful at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was just so life after having the heart attack. Well, what's it been like?
I went through a period of depression. I thought my life was, gonna be,
Like old man.
I thought my life was gonna end short. I was like, if I'm catching a heart attack at 39, probably not gonna see 50. So I fell into this depression thing, started drinking a lot, doing the exact opposite
of what they told you to do,
of what I should have been doing, and like literally like taking heart medication with a beer, like not really respecting it, and just feeling like, all right, well, fuck it, I'm gonna die. So, and then eventually I snapped out of it. I snapped out of it, and I started hearing about other people who didn't survive.
Yeah.
And they went through the same thing, and I was like, all right, I can't waste this.
Yeah.
I can't waste this. I'm still here. I gotta do something about it. So, I told the doctor that I wanted to get a penis enlargement back so I could get my life back. I said I didn't mean to get the reduction. I want to do the enlargement now. Do you still have the pieces that you took out from last time?
With
so
you.
that way I can get my life back.
Okay.
No, I started exercising. I started eating better. I started doing a lot of cardio with my dog.
Okay. Wilton.
Running around with the dog. And I feel good, man. I feel good. I haven't had alcohol in like almost a year.
How many months?
It's been 10 months.
Okay. Congratulations. Hey.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Take care of that heart. What?
Yeah. I haven't been touching weed. I've been staying away from that. And I gotta say, man, I feel like I'm discovering a new part of myself.
Yeah, that's what's up. That's so dope.
Yeah.
It's crazy that it took that to get to that point, but life be lifing.
It takes that. It takes that because we be so stubborn, and we know what we're supposed to do. We know what we got to do, but we need to get scared first to do it. Something got to happen to scare us for us to do it. So that's what had to happen to me, and some people it happens to them, and they still don't change.
Yeah.
It's still not enough.
Yeah.
So I'm glad it was enough for me. I'm glad I'm still here. I always used to say this thing because I'm such a lazy person. I always used to say this thing where I used to be like, well, let me pee right now while I'm still on my feet before I lay down. Because once I lay down, I ain't gonna want to get up. Or I'd be like, well, let me just do this right now while I'm still on my feet before I lay down. And now I took that, and it was my way. It was my way of basically trying to work around my laziness so I could lay down and do nothing for the maximum amount of time without having to get back up again. So I'm like, let me do everything I need to do while I'm on my feet so I could lay back down again. And I took that and I applied it to my life. And I'm like, you know what, man? Let me do all these things that I want to do with my life. While I'm still on my feet.
Yeah, come on, you know preacher. When you get a preacher, when you get that spirit of preaching in you.
While I'm still on my feet, before they lay me to rest for good, let me, try to get some of these things done.
Okay, all right. Well, I can't wait to see your special.
Thank
I
you.
can't wait to see whatever else is in store for you. Tell people where they can find you right here.
Hey, man, hit me up on social media, Cory fucking Fernandez.
He won't follow you back on Instagram, just so you know. So don't expect to follow back.
And look out for my 1 hour special or 30 minutes. Say hello to the bad guy. It's my 20th anniversary. We're shooting it this year. That's the goal. And look out for your boy, man. I'm still auditioning. So we'll see what screen you gonna see me on next.
Tony's a cute, my love is pure. Tony's a cute, my love is pure.
Show your love for Taquita Love. Comedy is pure.
But as always, you want this. I had one dude was like, hey, you think you could bring a brother the clear machine home? Not the clear machine. He was like, yeah, ma, the revival. Clear.